So our next story is about someone exploring the unintended consequences of crossing the space in between. Please welcome Morgan Givens.
I'm 25 years old, sitting in my doctor's office and trying to ignore the fact that the only thing standing between me and my transition from female to male is this doctor staring blankly at me. A man whose disheveled appearance and broken wire-rimmed spectacles kind of made him look like the adult muggle version of Harry Potter. But he was magical to me, though, because he scribbled out a quick prescription for testosterone, and I took my first shot that night. And when before I had been crushed beneath the societal expectations of my femininity, this was my chance to break through the cage, to become me, to become a little bit more free. And within days of taking my first shot, I found myself racing to answer the phone just so I could say, hello. And I practiced saying hello repeatedly. I said hello so much that my mother yelled up the stairs, Morgan? Dion Givens, if you say the word hello one more time, I swear to God, if you say it one more time. And strength was the next thing to come surging into my life. There was nothing I wasn't lifting above my head or onto my shoulders just because I could. Completely full industrial-sized trash can. I lifted it. My oaken writing desk, I lifted it. My mom, I lifted her too. Tossed her like a sack of potatoes over my shoulder while she yelled at me, Morgan, if you don't put my black ass down, what the hell is wrong with you? And it wasn't just the deepening voice or burgeoning strength. Oh no, a lot of other things were happening too. Like when I talked, people were suddenly listening to what I had to say. The days of fighting tooth and nail for every comment or suggestion to be heard were relatively few and far in between. And the women? The women began calling the house, swooning over me, because I knew how to talk so sweet and pretty. Hey, Jasmine girl. You know you the only one I'm talking to, boo. My mom snatched the phone from my hand. Oh, so you just gonna lie to them, huh? I didn't raise you like this, Morgan Dion. Treating women this way don't make you a man. And maybe Mom was right. All right, Mom was right. But there was this one night when I was leaving work after an overnight shift at Target, and I stepped out into the darkness of the parking lot alone. I didn't have my keys in my hand, just in case a man attacked me. I wasn't looking over my shoulder just in case he jumped from behind the bushes. No! I stepped out into that parking lot completely unencumbered by fear. Have you ever seen a grown man skip? Because that's what I did. As soon as I realized I didn't have to worry about some simple-minded little man messing with me, I skipped straight to my car, drunk on the knowledge and belief that I could do and be anything that I wanted. And I was driving home that night to my grandmother's house, where I lived shortly after transitioning down in North Carolina. And she lives in a 4,000 square foot apartment or home in one of those sleepy neighborhoods of wealth. They hide down 2-mile driveways and behind blooming southern magnolia trees. And I pulled up at my house at 4:30 in the morning. And I felt him before I saw him. The quick flick of red and blue lights, the siren silent in the pre-dawn air, my heart hammering in my chest. Because I had had run-ins with other types of men. The men who groped me. The men who thought it was cool to slip things into my drinks. The men who showed up at my house unannounced, demanding entry so that the very sanctuary of my home was disturbed. But this was entirely new to me. And he walked up to me, flashlight in my face, just as I exited my car. Boy, what are you doing here? Sir, I'm just coming home from work. Well, that don't answer my question. And it don't tell me what you are doing here. Sir, I live here. You live here. Well, we've had a lot of car break-ins lately. Man, you lying? Is what I wanted to say. Because in neighborhoods like these, good news may travel languidly on the summer breeze, but the bad? Except I wasn't quite sure how that would go for me. And so I said nothing. Why don't you go ahead and put your hands on the hood of this vehicle? For what? Because you match a description and because I said so. And what description is that, huh? Black man working? Turn around. And I'm not ashamed to admit that I nearly called for my grandmother, nearly screamed loudly enough to wake the dogs in the surrounding houses, sending them into a frenzied barking uproar. But I am ashamed to admit that as my eyes slid down to his hip, to the pistol that rested against it, I choked on my pride and my rage, and I said nothing. Because what could my grandmother do? Come storming out the front door of the house, find herself confronted with the barrel of a gun, and end up potentially hurt or dead too? I stayed silent. And when he found nothing, he had to let me go. But I just couldn't see how in this supposedly post-racial America, this so-called defender of my liberties could treat me as if I had never been freed. And I didn't realize after transitioning, I would become caged once again, matching America's description of a black man. Black man, black men, they make it so hard for us to stand.